The WNBA All-Star Charity Initiative supports sports group that says it is, quote, moving beyond the binary of a girl. The girls in the game say it welcomes LGBTQ plus youth, regardless of gender identity or expression.
The WNBA just made a massive public relations move, and it might be the very thing that fractures their newly expanded fan base. Right now, professional women's basketball is experiencing an unprecedented boom in viewership. After decades of struggling to fill arenas and secure profitable television deals, millions of new eyes are finally on the product. You have a fresh crop of generational talent driving ticket sales through the roof. But instead of just capitalizing on the on-court product and letting the athletes shine, the league is willingly stepping into one of the most volatile and heavily debated issues in modern sports. During their highly publicized milestone 30th season, they announced a major charity initiative for their All-Star game. The stated goal was to distribute funds to local youth groups in the Chicago area. On the surface, the PR strategy sounds completely bulletproof. Who could possibly argue against a program designed to keep young girls active and involved in sports? It is the kind of legacy initiative that sponsors love and networks praise. But when you look past the glossy graphics and read the actual mission statement of the organization the WNBA chose to fund, a massive red flag appears. The phrase "moving beyond the binary of a girl" is not just a casual marketing slogan or a minor update to their website. It is a fundamental shift in how athletic categories are defined, and it raises immediate, unavoidable questions about exactly who this money is truly serving and what kind of future the league is trying to build.
According to the league's July 15th release, the WNBA All-Star teams will compete for a $100,000 prize pool benefiting two Chicago area organizations, quote, dedicated to keeping girls involved in sports. The winning team's organization receives $70,000, while the runner-up's organization gets $30,000. Team Coop is playing for Angels Athletic.
$100,000 is a significant chunk of change, especially when it comes to local youth sports programming. The league officially stated that this money was strictly dedicated to keeping girls involved in sports, splitting the prize pool based on the results of the All-Star game. The winning team secured $70,000 for their chosen charity, while the runner-up secured $30,000. Team Spoon was officially playing to support the organization known as Girls in the Game. When a professional sports league attaches its brand name, its television broadcast, and its financial backing to a charitable organization, there is an assumed level of intense corporate vetting. Major leagues do not just write checks blindfolded. They have entire departments dedicated to community relations and social responsibility. They review the operational history, they analyze the public mission statements, and they calculate the potential blowback of every single dollar they distribute. So we have to assume the WNBA knew exactly who they were partnering with from day one. They reviewed the portfolio and decided that this specific organization perfectly aligned with the core values of professional women's basketball. They intentionally chose to spotlight a group that operates under these specific guidelines on national television during their biggest weekend of the year. And that decision is exactly where the official narrative starts to fall apart.
The WNBA described Girls in the Game as an organization that partners with schools, parks, community centers in Chicago to offer sports, health, and leadership programs. That sounds straightforward enough until you dig deeper into the Girls in the Game website.
The surface-level presentation of this charity is flawless. A group that partners with local schools, public parks, and community centers to promote health, leadership, and athletic development is the exact kind of initiative any professional sports league would want on their resume. It makes for incredible press releases and heartwarming halftime segments. But sports journalists at Outkick and Fox News decided to actually look past the corporate press release and read the fine print deeply buried on the organization's website. What they found completely contradicts the fundamental premise of female-only athletic spaces. This is no longer a simple story about buying basketballs or funding after-school coaching clinics. It is about a radical, deliberate redefinition of the word girl in a sporting context. For over 50 years, Title IX and the broader sports world have operated on the concrete understanding that female sports exist, specifically because biological differences matter. The entire infrastructure of women's professional, collegiate, and amateur athletics is built on the undeniable reality of biological sex. It is the only reason the WNBA itself exists. But this organization, the very one the WNBA is actively funding and promoting, is signaling a complete departure from that biological foundation by welcoming what they call gender-expansive participants regardless of gender identity or expression.
Girls in the Game is not a generic youth charity that happens to work with girls. The organization repeatedly frames its mission around girls, girls sports, and girls-only spaces. So when it says it's moving beyond binary of girls, People deserve to know what that actually means.
The name of the organization is literally Girls in the Game. They explicitly market themselves around girl-centered programming and pride themselves on providing girls-only spaces for development. But in the exact same breath, under their inclusivity tab, they announce they are moving beyond the binary of a girl. You simply cannot have it both ways in the realm of physical competition. You cannot claim to provide a safe, dedicated, and exclusive space for young females while simultaneously dismantling the very definition of what a female is. This isn't just a matter of semantics or adopting progressive corporate terminology to appease donors. In the context of youth sports, definitions dictate reality. If a sports organization abandons biological boundaries and operates based on subjective identity, they are explicitly opening the door for biological males to compete against young girls. This completely alters the competitive landscape. It changes the physical reality of the games, the intensity of the practices, and the dynamics of the locker rooms. And the people who deserve to know exactly what is happening are the parents. Families are dropping their kids off at these community centers, signing release forms, and trusting the brand name of the WNBA, fully believing they are placing their daughters in a biologically female environment.
According to a 2025 annual report, Girls in the Game served 3,059 participants in 2025 fiscal year. The report says its Chicago after-school program served 921 participants, and girls play sports, learn about healthy lifestyle choices, and improve their leadership skills in an all-girl setting.
We are not talking about a small niche program operating under the radar. We are talking about thousands of young participants. According to their own annual reporting, they served over 3,000 kids in a single fiscal year, with nearly 1,000 involved in the Chicago after-school program alone. The sheer scale of this operation is massive, which makes the calculated ambiguity of their official policies deeply concerning for anyone invested in the integrity of youth sports. The organization proudly touts an all-girls setting, emphasizing a safe, non-competitive, and physically active environment. Yet, because of their public stance on gender expansiveness, we have absolutely no idea if that setting is actually entirely female. The organization refuses to clearly state on their public-facing materials if their participation eligibility is based on biological sex or if it is entirely dictated by gender identity. In the world of youth athletics, clarity is not optional. It is a strict requirement for safety and fairness. When you intentionally obscure the eligibility rules, you leave local families completely in the dark about who their children are interacting with. Are young girls currently competing alongside biological males in these WNBA-funded programs? The organization will not confirm or deny it. And that deliberate lack of transparency is a massive story that the mainstream sports media is terrified to touch.
Or gender identity, whether the parents are told before enrollment that the organization is, quote, moving beyond the binary of a girl, and whether the WNBA All-Star money would be unrestricted or directed towards a specific program. Girls in the Game did not respond to multiple requests for comment.
The independent media did exactly what journalists are supposed to do in this situation. They asked direct, highly specific questions to clarify the ambiguous policy. Outkick and Fox News reached out directly to Girls in the Game with the most fundamental questions possible. They asked explicitly if biological males who identify as girls or as non-binary are currently eligible to participate in their girl-centered sports programming. It is a simple yes or no inquiry that requires zero interpretation. They also asked if parents are actively informed about this moving beyond the binary philosophy before they enroll their children in the camps. The response they received was complete and total silence. In the world of public relations and crisis management, ignoring a direct factual question about your own published policy is a definitive answer. If the organization was strictly serving biological girls, they would have issued a swift statement confirming it to clear the air. The absolute refusal to comment tells you everything you need to know about their internal operations. They know the policy is highly controversial, they know the parents of those thousands of kids might fiercely push back, and they are desperately hoping the media scrutiny just fades away so they can continue operating in the gray area.
Then there's the WNBA. Outkick and Fox News Digital asked the league whether it was aware of the Girls in the Game moving beyond the binary girl language before selecting the organization for an all-star initiative. Fox News Digital and Outkick also asked whether the league believes an organization that says it's moving beyond the definition of a girl fits an initiative describing as keeping girls involved in.
But the strategic silence from the local charity is only half of the problem. The absolute silence from the WNBA league office is the real scandal unfolding here. The league was asked directly by reporters if they were aware of this specific language before they handed over the massive All-Star Initiative platform. They were asked if they truly believe that an organization actively dismantling the definition of a girl is an appropriate partner for an initiative literally described to the public as keeping girls involved in sports. The WNBA is an organization with a massive, highly paid communications department that responds to minor social media controversies and player disputes in a matter of minutes. Yet they completely ignored these inquiries. Because of course they did. The WNBA is caught in an impossible political trap of their own making. They desperately want the progressive points and the favorable media coverage that come with supporting these expansive organizations, but they absolutely do not want to go on the record and explicitly admit they are funding the presence of biological males in youth girl sports. They are playing a dangerous, calculated game of financial endorsement without taking any of the public accountability that comes with it.
I can tell you right now what we used to say over and over again when we would make a Leah Thomas video or any other video about a biological male competing against women. It's dangerous. It's physically dangerous.
The hypocrisy on display from the league is absolutely staggering when you break it down. The WNBA is a professional league that heavily promotes the intense physicality, the elite athleticism, and the rugged nature of its players. These women are the best in the entire world at what they do, and they compete in a fiercely guarded, biologically female ecosystem. If you introduced a biological male with the undeniable physical advantages of male puberty into the WNBA, the physical disparity would be immediately obvious and inherently dangerous. The league office would never allow it because it would instantly destroy the competitive integrity of their product, invalidate their record books, and severely jeopardize the physical safety of their star athletes. Yet they are perfectly willing to donate tens of thousands of dollars to a local organization that implements that exact same blurred standard on young girls. They are happily funding a reality for children that they would absolutely refuse to tolerate in their own professional arenas. It is a massive, glaring double standard, prioritizing corporate virtue signaling and progressive branding over the actual physical realities and safety concerns of youth athletics.
Maybe Congress should be asking all kinds of questions. Hey, House Republicans, I know you got your ears on. I know some of y'all watch this channel. Maybe it's time to call in Cathy Engelbert so you can get all kinds of questions answered about the WNBA, not just Caitlin Clark related.
This controversy isn't just going to magically vanish because the league office refuses to answer their emails. The WNBA is at a crucial, defining turning point in its history. They finally have the massive television ratings, the completely sold-out arenas, and the mainstream cultural relevance they have been desperately chasing for nearly 3 decades. But they are actively risking that newfound fragile success by alienating a massive portion of their audience with these highly divisive social initiatives. The vast majority of fans are tuning in to watch high-level basketball. They are not tuning in to see the foundational rules of women's sports quietly eroded from the youth level up by the very league that should be protecting them. The pressure from independent media and concerned fans is only going to mount as these stories gain traction. Will the league leadership finally have to step up to a microphone and answer for exactly where their money is going? Or will they continue to hide behind a wall of public relations silence, hoping the fans just forget? The audience is watching, the independent media is digging, and eventually the WNBA will have to make a definitive choice about what they actually stand for. So what do you think? Does the league owe the paying public a clear answer on their funding? Or are they free to support whatever policies they want behind closed doors? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Hit the like button if you appreciate the deep dive, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update on the real stories in sports.